You expected that after your awakening, life would turn into an endless, radiant flow of light and high vibrations. You truly believed that once you saw through the veil, once you finally understood the true nature of this simulated reality, you would immediately step into a version of yourself that is completely unstoppable. You imagined yourself building an empire, finally mastering your environment, or perhaps saving the world from its own deep-seated illusions. You waited for that surge of cosmic energy, that divine spark to carry you forward into a new life of power and clarity. But instead, you found yourself in a strange, heavy, and terrifying silence. Instead of soaring, you find it difficult to even push the covers off your bed in the morning. The very air in your room feels thicker, slower. You look at the world outside your window, the noise, the frantic patterns of people chasing shadows, the endless repetitive loop of the matrix, and all you feel is a profound, numbing indifference. You find yourself staring at the ceiling for hours, the silence of the room ringing in your ears, while a quiet, haunting question repeats in your mind. Why do I feel so empty now that I finally know the truth? In the beginning, the insight was electric. The moment of realization felt like a lightning bolt to your soul. But as the days turned into weeks, that initial fire didn't just fade, it vanished. It's as if your soul reached out and turned down the volume on the entire world and then simply forgot where the dial was. You feel like a ghost haunting your own life, watching your old self from a distance, wondering why that person ever cared about titles, money, social validation, or the petty dramas of the simulation. Welcome to the most guarded, most misunderstood stage of exiting the Matrix. This is the dark, silent corridor they don't mention in the mainstream books about enlightenment. This isn't a clinical depression, although it wears its mask perfectly. This isn't a failure of your will, and it's certainly not a sign that you've lost your way or been abandoned by the universe. What you are experiencing right now is a total, scorched earth system purge. Your old life, your old desires, and your old psychological structures are being deleted in real time to make room for a frequency you aren't yet calibrated to hold. You are a bridge between two worlds, standing in the middle while both shores have vanished into the fog. Today, we are going to go deep, truly deep into the hidden mechanics of this void. We are going to unravel exactly why your motivation vanished, why your old identity had to die so violently, and why this terrifying emptiness is actually the greatest spiritual upgrade you will ever receive. We aren't just going to analyze the problem. We are going to show you how to survive the total dissolution of your old self so you can finally step into the authentic one. For the absolute majority of your life, whether you realized it or not, your energy was harvested and fueled by the programming of the Matrix. Think back to the times before your awakening, to the things that used to get you out of bed every morning. It was the burning desire to prove your worth to people who barely even know you. It was the constant hunger to be seen, to be validated, to achieve a specific status that the system told you was the ultimate prize. That was your primary fuel. It was a highly toxic, deeply exhausting mix of adrenaline, the underlying fear of being left behind, and the endless hollow pursuit of external approval. You were operating an avatar, a carefully constructed social mask designed to survive and compete in a deeply unconscious world. You played the game because you believed the game was real. But your awakening changed the fundamental rules of your reality. It violently stripped that mask away. Suddenly, you were standing outside the simulation, looking in. You see the invisible strings attached to your old goals. You see the empty promises behind the 5-year plans, the hustle culture, and the relentless grind. And here is the brutal catch that leaves so many seekers entirely paralyzed. You no longer want to play the game, but your body, your nervous system, and your neurological pathways do not know any other way to live yet. You are exactly like an actor who, right in the middle of a massive theatrical production, suddenly wakes up and realizes the scenery is entirely made of cheap cardboard, the audience is asleep, and the script is a complete fabrication. You are standing on stage under the bright lights, and you simply refuse to speak your lines anymore. Not because you forgot them, but because they taste like ashes in your mouth. When you feel that heavy, unbearable lack of motivation, you must understand this. You didn't lose your drive. You were not broken. Your system is fundamentally refusing to run on the dirty, low vibrational fuel of the ego anymore. You have simply outgrown the psychological engine that used to power your ambitions. The matrix can no longer trigger you into action through fear, lack, or competition. Your soul has forcefully stepped in and declared that it will no longer accept a mere simulation of a meaningful life. It demands the real thing, or it demands nothing at all. This brings us to the most dangerous, yet deeply transformative phase of your entire journey. We call this the liminal space, the sacred void between your old artificial reality and your new conscious existence. Your mind is currently functioning exactly like a highly advanced supercomputer that has just completely wiped its corrupted operating system. But the new, upgraded software hasn't finished downloading yet. You're in a state of suspended animation. You feel a hollow emptiness because the artificial hooks of the matrix can no longer attach to you. Yet your true inner abundance hasn't been fully activated to take their place. You're sitting in the ultimate waiting room of your consciousness. And this is exactly where the trap snaps shut for most people. In our hyper-stimulated, constantly producing society, sitting still is treated as a disease. The system tells you that this pause, this sacred stillness, is just laziness, depression, or a massive personal failure. So what do? You start judging yourself. You panic. You try to force yourself back into the old hustle, trying to violently squeeze one last drop of adrenaline out of goals you don't even care about anymore. But let me make this very clear. Forcing the old programs to run while your system is trying to update will only lead to a massive psychological crash. You cannot skip this void. In all ancient traditions of transformation, this is known as the Hermit phase. It is the necessary dissolution before the rebirth. Think of the caterpillar. It doesn't just magically grow wings and fly away. It wraps itself in complete darkness, breaks down entirely into an unrecognizable liquid state, and loses every single aspect of its previous identity. It becomes nothing. Right now, your ego is in a state of pure panic because it is dissolving. It wants action, it wants drama, it wants its old comfortable identity back. But the deeper part of you, the true self, is whispering, "Stay still. We are building something that cannot be broken by this world." If you run from this emptiness, you will abort the process. You must learn to sit in the darkness until it becomes your greatest ally. Let us go deeper. What exactly is happening in the shadows of your mind right now? Many people traversing this path mistakenly confuse this profound emptiness with a terrifying loss of their core identity. You look in the mirror, and you feel as though you are slowly vanishing, fading into the background of your own existence. But let me tell you a profound truth. You are not disappearing. The only thing that is dissolving right now is the persona, that heavy, exhausting, artificial avatar that the Matrix trained you to believe was you. Since you were a very young child, the system injected a specific virus-like code into your mind. It continuously whispered, "You are your job title. You are the balance in your bank account. You are your relationship status. You are the brand of the car you drive and the labels on the clothes you wear." And for years, you kept feeding that avatar, exhausting your life force to keep the mask perfectly painted. When these superficial programs finally shut down after a true spiritual awakening, the immediate aftermath is complete, deafening silence. And make no mistake, this silence absolutely terrifies your ego. The ego is an entity that is entirely addicted to noise, to struggle, to constant friction, and to endless drama. It needs an enemy. It needs a goal to stress over. Without a problem to solve, without someone to compete against, the ego feels like it is suffocating. So when you lay in bed feeling zero motivation to participate in the rat race, it is just your ego throwing a silent tantrum. It is screaming because it is starving. But listen closely. Just beyond the screaming of your dying programs, just beneath the panic of the dissolving ego, lies something ancient and indestructible, your true self. This is a level of consciousness that does not need to hustle to prove its worth. It does not need to manipulate reality to feel safe. It is already whole. It is already abundant. The only problem is that you have spent your entire life listening to the loud, frantic, anxiety-inducing demands of the Matrix, and you have not yet trained your ear to hear the quiet, powerful whisper of your own soul. You are trying to navigate a brand new dimension using an outdated map. So how do you escape this limbo? How do you get out of the void? The answer is not what you think. You will never get your old motivation back, and honestly, thank God for that. That old fire was burning you alive. In its place, a new, infinitely more powerful energy source is waiting to be activated. We call this state of being alignment. When you finally reach this level of conscious alignment, you stop trying to force the universe to bend to your will. You no longer make desperate 5-year plans driven by the deep-seated fear of poverty or insignificance. Instead, you begin to create, to build, and to live from a state of total overflow and abundance. This new fuel doesn't burn you out. It provides a clean, eternal energy. It is a life lived in a state of flow, where deep synchronicities become your everyday reality. You simply know exactly where to go because your inner vision is finally clear of the system's static. But transitioning from the paralyzing void into this state of alignment is the hardest part of the entire journey. If you are sitting in this emptiness right now, feeling the crushing weight of the silence, remember this: you are not broken, you are calibrating. However, you must be careful. The Matrix is a highly predatory system. It is specifically designed to pull you back into the cycle of suffering, debt, and unconscious hustle if you don't quickly build a new internal architecture. You cannot make this transition relying on the same mind that was programmed by the system. This is exactly why we created Worldview, the system of reality shifting. It is not just another app. It is a deep recalibration chamber for your mind, designed for those who are ready to stop suffering and start consciously creating a reality filled with love, wealth, and profound inner harmony. Within the Anar Dreams ecosystem, you will find the exact tools, the perception rewiring practices, and the frequency tuning needed to bridge the massive gap between your dying ego and your newly awakened self. You don't have to figure this out alone in the dark. You can start your transformation today entirely for free by experiencing the core lessons that will shift your state and rewrite your operating system.
The link to access the worldview system and step into your new life is right at the very top of the description below this video. Step out of the void, stop fighting the old programs, and let your new reality load completely. Your true journey begins the moment you make the choice to shift.